Namaste everyone. My name is Achla Bhupendra. I'm the Vice President of WICCI NRI Council. I am also Chairperson of Sustainable Future Foundation, Vice President of Bharati Bhasha Sambandha Sansthan, and International Director of MSME Forum Middle East. I welcome all of you on behalf of WICCI NRI Council's today's event on the topic called A Culture of Silence. Before going ahead, let me take a pleasure to introduce our audience to our guest. Today, I'm sharing this screen with WICCI NRI Council President Dr. Anar Mehta, our keynote speaker of today's evening, Dr. Vandana Srivastava from India, and our other guest speakers from different parts of the world, Ms. Sushmita Kumar from Dubai and Ms. Shalini Verma from Qatar. Thanks to all of you for joining us today. As we already know that WICCI NRI Council works for various social and community issues. And in the same series today, we have a talk on the topic called A Culture of Silence to support United Nations campaign of Domestic Violence Awareness Month. The global theme of this year's 16 Days of Activism Against Gender-Based Violence is Unite, activism to end violence against women and girls. The color orange, as you see, most of us are wearing that. The color orange is used to represent a brighter future, free from violence against women and girls, as a unifying theme running through all the global activities of the Unite campaign. So I'm hoping that our small contribution towards this campaign will definitely make some impact in a woman's life. The culture of silence is a chain that has kept many women under the bondage of sexual and domestic violence. From time, women have been groomed to be silent and bear the pain of violence perpetuated against them. We, as a team of WICCI NRI Council, always want our Nari Shakti should be strong enough to deal such kind of situation and break the culture of silence as and when required. So, before doing much delay, let's kickstart our today's event by inviting our first guest speaker, Ms. Shalini Verma from Qatar. Shalini ji is an educator, Toastmaster, and writer. She is the editor of Navchetna International Digital Magazine. She resides in Doha, Qatar since last 20 years. She worked as a social worker in Chhattisgarh before settling in Qatar and helped many women to raise their voice on equal pay for equal work issue. She has been associated as a writer with many leading websites. Women empowerment is the main area of her handwriting. Her more than 350 articles, poems are published in various newspapers, magazines, and web portals. She was recognized for continuous writing on issues faced by women and awarded by Women's website. She was also invited by Indira Gandhi Kala Kendra, New Delhi for discussion on 8th March Women's Day 2022 on the occasion of Shakti Parva International Women's Day. I welcome Shalini ji to a stage now.
Am I audible, Achla ji?
Yes, Shalini ji, most welcome.
Thank you so much. Good evening, one and all. Namaskar. So first, I would like to say thank you to our NRA Council President, Ms. Anar Mehta and Ms. Achla Bhupenji for leading the idea for today's event and gave me chance to speak on this topic and provided me on this platform. First, I will not wish you the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. I hope we will make our new future, and in that world, there will be no space for violence against women. So let's hold our hands together and fight together against violence. आज मैं साइलेंस यानी चुप्पी, मौन पर ही बात करूंगी, क्योंकि मुझे लगता है कि दुनिया भर में विमेंस, महिलाओं, लड़कियों के खिलाफ जो भी हिंसा होती है, सबसे बड़ा कारण उसका चुप्पी है, क्योंकि हम चुप रहते हैं। और आप सभी सहमत होंगे कि महिलाओं या लड़कियों के खिलाफ जो हिंसा होती है, उसे रोक सकते हैं अगर वो अपने खिलाफ हो रही हिंसा के खिलाफ आवाज उठाएं, लोगों को बताएं और अपने अधिकारों का प्रयोग करें। हम सब जानते हैं कि चुप रहना कहीं ना कहीं हिंसा को बढ़ावा देना होता है, और हिंसा नहीं, किसी भी बात को बढ़ावा देना होता है। जब किसी के भी खिलाफ हिंसा होती है, विमेंस के खिलाफ हिंसा होती है, वो चुप्पी लगा लेती हैं, पर उनकी यही चुप्पी आगे आने वाली कितनी ही लड़कियों को यही हिंसा सहने को बाध्य कर देती है। तो वी हैव टू ब्रेक दिस चेन because this silence has kept many women under the bondage of sexual and the domestic violence. And we know from ancient time, women have been groomed to be silent. Why? And bear the pain of the violence. हम जानते हैं कि आज का जो इंटरनेशनल डे फॉर एलिमिनेशन ऑफ वायलेंस अगेंस्ट वीमेन है, हम 25 नवंबर को मनाते हैं, महिलाओं को जागरूक करते हैं, और आगे आने वाले 16 दिन तक हम इसमें लोगों को शामिल होने के लिए प्रोत्साहित भी करेंगे। पर मुझे लगता है कि हमारी जो पीड़ित विक्टिम है, उनको सशक्त बनाने के लिए, महिलाओं और लड़कियों के खिलाफ जो हिंसा होती है, उसको कम करने, रोकने के लिए सबसे पहले हमें अपने स्तर पे काम करना चाहिए। ये मुझे लगता है कि आप हर जगह झंडा लेके सड़क पर नहीं आ सकते, पॉसिबल नहीं है। लेकिन हम जहाँ पर हैं, वहाँ अपने आस-पास तो कुछ काम कर सकते हैं। अगर अपने आस-पास, अपने घरों में, पड़ोस में, जहाँ हमें कुछ ऐसा दिखाई देता है, उसे तो रोक सकते हैं। अपने जान-पहचान में अगर लगता है, कोई परेशान है, तो कम से कम और कुछ नहीं कर सकते, उससे बात तो कर सकते हैं। क्योंकि यही चुप्पी मुझे लगता है कि उन्हें सुसाइड या फिर और दूसरे रास्तों पे ले जाती है। कितनी ही मतलब मैं ये कहूँगी कि इस वायलेंस का जो स्वरूप है विश्वव्यापी है, ग्लोबली। ये कोई एक देश की समस्या नहीं है, मुझे नहीं लगता कि एक देश की प्रॉब्लम है। अगर आप देखो तो पूरी दुनिया में जो हिंसा होती है, वायलेंस होता है, सबसे भयंकर अगर है, तो मैं कहूँगी कि वीमेन्स के अगेंस्ट ही है। और इसका पूरे विश्व में, आज मैंने बहुत सारी रिपोर्ट्स पढ़ी, सर्वे पढ़ी, तो मैं देखती हूँ कि हर तीसरी महिला को ये वायलेंस भोगना पड़ता है। और अधिकतर का कारण क्या है? चुप्पी। जो हमारी थीम है कि ब्रेक द साइलेंस, ये जो साइलेंस है, कहीं ना कहीं यही उस चीज को आगे बढ़ाता है। चुप्पी, नहीं तो कलंक, नहीं तो शर्म, नहीं तो सामाजिक प्रतिष्ठा, ये दिमाग में हमारे इस तरीके से बैठे हुए हैं कि हम इस पर बात ही नहीं करना चाहते। और सबसे ज्यादा जो लगता है कि हमारे जीवन साथी के द्वारा, लिव इन पार्टनर के द्वारा, या फिर मैं और भी जो भी हमारे साथी हैं उनके द्वारा ये उत्पीड़न होना, ये वायलेंस होना। आपको जानकर हैरानी होगी, आज जो मैंने 2-3 रिपोर्ट पढ़ी कि हर 11 मिनट में एक महिला या एक लड़की के साथ उसके ही पार्टनर के द्वारा उसकी या तो हत्या होती है। 30% महिलाएं या तो सेक्सुअली या फिर इस तरीके के एक्सपीरियंस को झेल चुकी होती हैं। 15 से 19 वर्ष तक की महिलाओं को कम से कम जो मैंने सर्वे पढ़ा, 24% महिलाएं जो फिजिकल रिलेशनशिप में है, उनके ही पार्टनर के द्वारा उन्हें सेक्सुअल हैरेसमेंट होता है। तो मतलब ये जो सर्वे कहते हैं, ये सर्वे झूठ तो नहीं हो सकते। अगर हर घंटे में 21 की रिपोर्ट के अनुसार कि 5 से अधिक महिलाओं की हत्या कर दी जाती है, वो भी अपनों के द्वारा। सबसे हैरानी की बात जो इस सर्वे में लगती है, और मुझे लगता है दुख की बात, कि अपने, जिन्हें हम अपना कहते हैं, वो ये हिंसा करते हैं। अगर आप बहुत सारे मामले देखेंगे, अभी जो मैंने मामले पढ़े, कि इतने भयानक तरीके से महिलाओं की हत्या, किनकी? जो उनको प्यार करती हैं उनकी। ईरान में मैंने पढ़ा कि विरोध करने वाली महिलाओं के खिलाफ कितनी हिंसा की वारदातें हुई। 22 जाने वाला है, लेकिन इस नवंबर मंथ में अगर आप देखोगे तो पूरा महीना मैं कहूँगी कि न्यूज़पेपर, सोशल मीडिया लड़कियों के मर्डर, रेप केसेस, आत्महत्या, हिंसा से भरा है। कितना आसान है एक पार्टनर का अपने ही पार्टनर के टुकड़े-टुकड़े करके और आराम से रहना। कोई अफ़सोस नहीं, कोई गिलानी नहीं। मतलब कि मैं कहूँगी कि महिलाएँ जिस पर सबसे ज़्यादा यकीन करें, उसी को, वही उनको इस तरीके से तड़पा के मौत दे। अभी एक लेटेस्ट न्यूज़ मैंने देखी, यमुना एक्सप्रेस वे पे सूटकेस में लड़की की लाश मिलना। मतलब करने वाला कोई बाहर वाला नहीं है, आपके अपने हैं, जिनको, मतलब जिन पर लड़कियां सबसे ज्यादा किस पर यकीन करती हैं? अपने फादर पर, हस्बैंड पर, ब्रदर पर। और उन्हीं के द्वारा अगर ऐसी बातें हो तो फिर कहाँ कोई यकीन करेगा? तो मुझे लगता है इन बातों के लिए बोलना जरूरी है, ये साइलेंस तोड़ना ज़रूरी है। जब तक हम बोलेंगे नहीं, जब तक मैं कहूँगी इसकी रोक नहीं होगी। हम देखते हैं मिस वर्ल्ड जैसी शख्सियत को, सेलिब्रिटीज़ तक के साथ वायलेंस होता है। तो मतलब कि मैं ये कहूँगी कि जब इतने बड़े-बड़े सेलिब्रिटीज़ के साथ होता है, तो इसका मतलब बहुत सी बातें तो सामने आती नहीं है, क्योंकि उनकी रिपोर्ट्स होती नहीं है। तो कहीं न कहीं जब हम बोलेंगे तो ये बातें रुकेंगी। और मैं ये कहूँगी इस प्लेटफ़ॉर्म से जो मुझे आज सुनेंगे या फिर बाद में भी सुनेंगे, अगर उसमें से कुछ लोग भी बोलने की हिम्मत जुटा पाएँ, तो कितना। मैं अपनी राइटिंग के माध्यम से हमेशा ट्राई करती हूँ कि इन टॉपिक्स पे लिखूँ कि बोलो। ये साइलेंस तोड़ना बहुत ज़रूरी है, क्योंकि बोलने से, जब आप बोलते हैं तो आवाज़ दूर तक जाती है। और आगे तक जाती है, फ्यूचर तक जाती है। तो सबसे पहले मुझे लगता है बोलना ज़रूरी है, जिस भी लेवल पे हम बोल सकते हैं। अगर मैं अपने घर में बोल सकती हूँ, अपने पड़ोस के लिए बोल सकती हूँ, अपने रिलेटिव्स के लिए बोल सकती हूँ, तो बहुत ज़रूरी है हम इस चुप्पी या मौन को तोड़ें। तो मैंने सोचा मेरा टॉपिक बस मैं चुप्पी तोड़ना ही रखूँगी, ये चुप्पी तोड़ना बहुत ज़रूरी है। और मतलब मैं सबसे ज़्यादा जो मुझे बार-बार मैं लिखती हूँ या पढ़ती हूँ, सबसे ज़्यादा दुःख होता है कि जिसको आप अपना सर्वस्व मानते हैं, उसी को वही आपके साथ ऐसा करे। एक सर्वे मैंने पढ़ा भारत का, इंडिया का नेशनल फैमिली हेल्थ सर्वे, उसके मतलब उसके अकॉर्डिंग मैं कहूँगी कि जो 40% महिलाएँ जो कभी स्कूल नहीं गईं, उनको 40% महिलाओं को फिजिकल वायलेंस का सामना करना पड़ा। जबकि जो महिलाएं स्कूल गईं, उनमें से 18% मतलब कि एजुकेशन से कम 18% उनके अगेंस्ट वायलेंस के केसेस कम हुए। तो मतलब देखा गया केवल सर्वे के अकॉर्डिंग कि केवल 14% महिलाएं जो कि अपने साथ हुए किसी भी तरह के वायलेंस की, चाहे वो फिजिकल है, सेक्सुअल है, हेरिसमेंट है, वो रिपोर्ट करने की उनकी हिम्मत हो पाती है। नहीं कर पाती रिपोर्ट, क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं लगता है ये हमारा प्रेस्टीज इशू है फैमिली का। मतलब बचपन से माइंड सेट ऐसा कर दिया जाता है कि अगर बेटा सह लो लेकिन बोलो मत, चाहे अपने हो, चाहे पराए हो, चाहे शादी के बाद हो, चाहे शादी से पहले हो। तो वो हिम्मत नहीं आती कि हम बोल पाए। लेकिन मैं कहती हूँ कि सामाजिक प्रतिष्ठा है, लेकिन उससे पहले आत्मसम्मान है। अपनी हर महिला अगर अपने आत्मसम्मान को सबसे पहले देखेगी, उसके बाद ही आप सामाजिक या फिर पारिवारिक देख पाएंगे। तो सबसे पहले आत्मसम्मान की रक्षा जरूरी है। तो मैं यही कहूँगी आज के इस प्लेटफॉर्म से कि इस साइलेंस को, इस चुप्पी को तोड़ो। अगर कहीं भी थोड़ा भी गलत होता देखते हो, अपने खिलाफ, दूसरों के खिलाफ, अपनी बहनों के खिलाफ, तो बोलिए। बोलना ज़रूरी है, और कुछ नहीं दे सकते तो उनको हिम्मत दो, कि बोलने की हिम्मत, कि आज आप बोलो तो कम से कम अपनी बेटी को, आगे अपनी जो जनरेशन आएगी उनको वो सब नहीं सहना पड़ेगा, जो आज बहुत सी मैं कहूँगी मिलियंस वीमेंस इसको फेस करती हैं आजकल। तो एज ए वुमेन आई नीड टू से यू, वी नीड टू use our collective voice and our influence. I know all of us have faced many challenges, and despite our success we are still burdened in additional way merely by being women. आज हम यहाँ पहुंचे हैं क्योंकि हमने बहुत सारे चैलेंजेस देखे हैं, लेकिन फिर भी मैं कहूँगी, फिर भी अभी हम पर, मैं कहूँगी हमें बहुत आगे जाना है। Our struggle have made us resilient, and thus this same resilience can be found in millions of women who are financially dependent on their husband, father, partners, and family members have more chances of domestic violence. अगर आप फाइनेंशियली इंडिपेंडेंट नहीं है रियली, आपके चांसेस बहुत बढ़ते हैं डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस के। तो मैं कहूँगी सबसे पहले अगर हमें इस वी हैव टू वॉइस रेज आवर वॉइस अगेंस्ट दिस वायलेंस, सबसे पहले हमारा मेन वेपन होगा एजुकेशन। अगर हम एजुकेटेड हैं तो मैं कहूँगी इस वायलेंस का मुझे लगता है कम से कम सामना करना पड़ेगा मेरी जनरेशन को, मेरे बाद आगे वाली जनरेशन को। सबसे पहले मेरा तो एक ही, मैं अपनी सारी सिस्टर्स को बोलना चाहूँगी, एजुकेशन सबसे ज़रूरी है। आप खुद एजुकेटेड होइए, नहीं है बाई चांस तो अपनी बेटियों को ज़रूर कीजिए। अगर वो एजुकेटेड होंगी तो इन फ्यूचर वो सब फेस नहीं करेंगी जो अब आज तमाम दुनिया की औरतें महसूस करती हैं। सेकंड थिंग मैं कहूँगी मीडिया। हम कहते हैं कि मीडिया, मुझे लगता है सबसे ज़्यादा पावरफुल अगर कुछ है आज तो मीडिया है। सोशल मीडिया प्लेटफॉर्म है, प्रिंटेड मीडिया है और मीडिया है। अगर वो मीडिया अपनी थोड़ी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी समझे और लोगों को जागरूक करे तो मुझे लगता है कि ये वायलेंस में ज़रूर कमी आएगी। क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं आप मूवीज़ देख लीजिए, कहीं ना कहीं ऐसे सोशल इश्यूज पे कितनी बात की जाती है, बहुत कम। तो हम लोग मैं कहूँगी इतनी डिबेट्स होती हैं, इन टॉपिक्स पे कितनी डिबेट्स होती है। आप कोई भी न्यूज़ चैनल देख लीजिए, कहाँ कभी कोई डिबेट होती है इन टॉपिक्स पे, बहुत रियरली, क्योंकि शायद टीआरपी नहीं मिलती होगी। तो मीडिया मुझे लगता है एक बहुत मजबूत कहूँगी मैं कि जहाँ मीडिया में अगर आवाज़ उठाई जाए और वो इस टॉपिक पे बात करें तो डेफिनेटली कहीं ना कहीं इन इश्यूज़ पे वर्क होगा, लोग जागरूक होंगे और ये वायलेंस के अगेंस्ट थोड़ा बहुत ज़रूर कुछ ना कुछ परिवर्तन तो आएगा। और फाइनेंशियली इंडिपेंडेंट होना, श्योरली इट विल ब्रिंग चेंजेस इन वीमेंस लाइफ। So I must say, education, financially independent, they will bring the changes in women's life. And मुझे लगता है कि अगर इन 2 चीज़ों पर भी हम वर्क करें, तो मैं, मेरे बाद आने वाली बहुत सारी जनरेशन, शायद ऐसा हमें ऐसे प्रोग्राम्स करने की ज़रूरत ही नहीं पड़ेगी, ना ऐसे डे सेलिब्रेट करने की ज़रूरत पड़ेगी इन फ्यूचर, अगर हम लोग अपनी बच्चियों को एजुकेटेड करें और सबसे पहले उन्हें बोलने की ज़रूर हिम्मत दें कि वो बोलें, ऐसे टॉपिक्स पे बात करें। अगर कुछ भी उनके अगेंस्ट गलत है, तो बोलने की हिम्मत उनके अंदर ज़रूर आनी चाहिए। तो मैं यहीं अपनी बात को रोकती हूँ। थैंक यू अचला जी।
शालिनी जी, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। सच बताऊं तो आपकी पूरी, मैं भाषण या स्पीच तो नहीं बोलूंगी, आपकी पूरी जो दिल से आपने जो बात बोली उसको सुन के मैंने चुप्पी साध ली है, सही बताऊं। आज मुझे
थैंक यू।
पता चला कि आप सही में लेखिका हैं। जो लेखिका होती ना, वो अपने शब्दों को सही रूप में पिरोना जानती है। और जब जब मैंने डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस के बारे में सुना है, तो मुझे लगा है शायद जिस जिस बहन के साथ में ऐसा होता है, वो ये सोचती कि शायद गवर्नमेंट जिम्मेदार है, शायद वो जिम्मेदार है, पूरे भूल जाती है कि ये उसकी अपनी चुप्पी जिम्मेदार है। ये हमारा वही भारतवर्ष है जिसमें झांसी की रानी हुई थी, ये वही भारतवर्ष है जिसमें सुषमा स्वराज थी, और आज भी स्मृति ईरानी जब बोलती है ना, तो उनके सामने कोई नहीं टिक सकता। तो हम, इतनी बड़ा पावर हमारे हाथ में, हम चुप क्यों बैठे हैं? किसने बोला है जाके लड़ो झगड़ो, लॉ सब कुछ है, पर बोलो तो सही। तो धन्यवाद शालिनी जी। अब मैं कार्यक्रम को आगे बढ़ाना चाहूंगी। From ev- okay, from every wound there's a scar, and every scar tells a story that says, "I survived." Now, I would like to call our next guest speaker from Dubai, Ms. Sushmita Kumar. Sushmita ji, I would like you to switch on the camera.
I'll switch on the camera for a very briefly, as I mentioned to you that I'm in a conference, Chala, today,
Okay,
and I
it's
had to
okay.
take
No,
out
no
some
issue, no
time.
issue,
Yeah,
no
it's
issue.
very difficult to keep the cam on here.
No
Yeah.
problem.
Hi.
I'll just,
Hello, everybody. Hi.
we just want to see your beautiful face, nothing else. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Hi, Dr. Vandana. Hi, Anarji. Good to see you again. And thank you very much for inviting me to speak on this an occasion for this month of awareness for domestic violence. I think it's one
Yes.
of the key causes that the UN is also always, fighting for globally as well. So I will just take through everybody on the little bit of presentation that I could prepare in this short time.
Sushmita
Just
ji, I would like to give your introduction before, if it's
okay,
okay,
okay. So
because
I
we
am
want our audience to know how much work you have already done, and so that all other women will be inspired from you. So
all right.
Sushmita ji is the CEO and director of a high jewelry brand she co-founded. She is a business strategist, a noted speaker. She is a global goodwill ambassador of humanitarian United Nations and UAE. She's also a member of board of trustee for African Women's Global Foundation. She believes in the strength of the human mind in achieving the impossible and surviving life adversaries with determination. She is committed to sustainable future initiative and participate in several talk show and workshop which aim to embarrass, create awareness, and reaches out for innovative ideas on achieving the United Nations SDG 2030. She also voices strongly on gender equality and women's empowerment. She has been recognized and awarded for her excellence and contribution both corporate world and by the local government. Shishmita ji, now stage is all yours. Please start.
Thank you, Achala, for the introduction.
Thank
And
you.
I must say, Shalini, thank you for your speech as well. It was really, really very motivating for to hear you speak again. Last time also I heard you speak. You are a very good speaker. Thank you. So I will just quickly share a little presentation just to take us through and to keep me also on the track on the topic that I'm talking about. Let me just add it. How do I add it from here?
Mm. Sushmita ji, there is a button present
One
at the
second,
bottom
one second. Yeah, yeah.
after
Just
settings.
yeah.
Uh, See if you can add it from there.
Just let me know if you can, if you view the file. Can you all
Yes,
see it? Yeah,
yes. Uh, okay, yeah.
yeah. So yeah. As we all know, that breaking the culture of silence is the key to, reducing the domestic violence that is happening around the world. And while we speak of domestic violence, as we know, it's not just women, it's also men who are also, affected by this. However, the rate of women being subjected to domestic violence is way higher than the male counterparts. Domestic violence is prevalent in every community, as we know, and affects all peoples. It's irrespective of age, or it's irrespective of social economic status, or sexual orientation of person, or gender, or religion, or race, or any nationality. I mean, it happens everywhere in the society at all levels. A lot of work is being done by a lot of agencies, semi-government entities, government entities globally. Even WHO is working on it, at UN level as well. There has been a lot of improvement, yes, but however, there's still a lot more that needs to be done. And I think when we talk about domestic violence, it's more about now, I think the awareness globally amongst educated people is quite, I mean, I would say substantial. The subject is known, the topic is known, we all know it, we are all educated women, but I think it's the people who need to get more educated about it, and the awareness has to go down to that level. So the culture of silence, as we know, it's kept women under, bondage of sexual and domestic violence across ages. I mean, across social circles. As just now, Shalini was talking about how it's there with celebrities as well, and different social frames in our society. So I think the main reason why I feel it's still happening predominantly is the fear of stigma, social stigma. I think it's more to do with, as we say in Hindi, log kya kahenge, wo kya kahenge, jaan jayenge to kya kahenge. I mean, even for people who have a very good picture in society, if I must say, so you don't really know what's going on behind them. Here, behind the scenes, I mean, here I would like to cite one example of a very close friend of mine. I mean, I had grown up with her in college and school. She was very close to me. I was there in her marriage as well, and she is one of the granddaughters of one of the most reputed. Literally in the literal world, poet who, in the league of Mrinal Sen and Sachit Ray. So she came from that kind of a background, and she was very confident and a very strong woman, I must say, until today she is. However, when she got married, I mean, I met her for the first time, I think, after around 3 or 4 years of her marriage, and I just happened to notice that she wasn't herself. I mean, she used to be so outspoken, and she used to be so happy all the time, and she used to be so full of energy. Well, something was amiss. I mean, I could see that she wasn't the same person. So I could understand probably there's something going on. I asked her, but she wouldn't tell me. And then a couple of meetings after that happened, because she moved to Calcutta, where I was there living. I mean, so I used to meet her frequently. After a couple of visits, I caught hold of her, and it took me some time, even though I was very close, to draw her out and find out what's going on in her life. So, and because it's not just because of the nature in which her personality had changed, it's also because some time in during our interactions, I had noticed some marks on her body, sometimes on her face near the neck part, and I used to ask her kya ho gaya and what happened, and she would say nahi, main yahan gir gayi thi, and this happened, that happened, and whatever. But it wasn't just, I was just not very sure that she's probably hiding something for me. So it took me some time to take her out of it. And then she confided in me that her husband was having some illicit affair with some other woman, and she used to beat her, come back home, and then drink, and then he would beat her up for small things. And that's the time when I went and I spoke to her mother and her parents without her knowledge, of course, because I told her several times to speak about it. And she used to go on telling me, no, 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 my Baba would be, completely depressed. He's not well and he's suffering health wise, and it'll impact my family reputation and so many other things. I mean, she was a well educated lady. However, I spoke to her parents and I told them that they have to take it up. It's a very sensitive issue. And finally, they took action. They went to the police, and finally, after a couple of years, she separated from him. So, I mean, in I think these kind of things, in some way or the other, touches our lives at some point in our lives. It touches all of us. I'm sure we all of us have come across incidents like these, where either it's a friend or sometimes even the maid who comes to work at our residences. Even those, there are a lot of cases that they suffer from their husbands in many ways. The main thing I feel is that it's about uh, educating them that they have to stand up for what they are facing, and they have to be, they build that confidence with them, that if they do come out and speak, they will be supported, and educate them about the supporting system. I'm sure every society has some community agencies or some NGOs or some helplines or somewhere we all can look at our own levels and see what is there available to reach out for help. So that is the main thing. It's about getting to know these situations with people that we connect with in our lives. So some of the key factors which lead to violence against women are primarily the intimate partner violences and sexual violences, of course. And as estimated by WHO, it's globally around 1 out of 3 women worldwide are subjected to either physical or sexual intimate partner violence or non-partner violence. That's a huge 30%, which is quite high. And then most of the violence is intimate partner violence, which is almost 27% of women aged between 15 to 49 years of age. So, but then, even having said that, all these that is happening is against women is preventable. I mean, the health sector has an important role to play to provide comprehensive health care to women subjected to violence, as an entry point for referring women to other support services that they may need. Some factors associated with intimate partner violence and sexual violence against women, as we would know, is low levels of education, which Shalini just spoke about. Then a history of exposure to child abuse. Children who grow up with abuse, they all have this set thought process in their heads that I must not speak about it, and that's where the culture of silence starts from. Amongst the other things is also, of course, the harmful use of alcohol by partners, low levels of women's access to paid employment. Then there is, of course, the ongoing thing about non-equality of gender, and of course, factors specifically associated with intimate partner violences, which include past history of exposure to violence and marital discord and dissatisfactions and difficulty in communicating with each other between partners, and of course the dominant male controlling behaviors towards their partners. So there are a lot of these kind of factors which actually lead to these intimate partner violences. uh, what we must ourselves stand up for, I mean, individually, we should all be alert to be able to identify and speak up. Watch out for signs and symptoms of abuse, no matter how small they may seem. Approach victim with openness. Get friendly to build trust and confidence. Educate to speak up without fear of stigma and physical abuse. community awareness and support. This is something we have to find out for ourselves. When we want to support somebody, we'll have to do that research ourselves and find out who are the people who can be reached out, and meet them, talk to them, and then bridge that, create a bridge between these entities and the victim that we are talking about. Report to authority as an depending on the seriousness and severity of the issues. And of course, educate the child or the children at a very early age. I mean, that we are, I'm sure all of us are doing with our own kids, but it's most importantly, if there is any way we can participate in schools and partner with schools and other areas where children generally go for maybe summer camps or other vocational trainings. In those areas also, if we can partner with people to generate some kind of very simple basic, very basic awareness about how to teach a girl as to what she should be okay with and what she should not be okay with when it comes to her body, in reference to her body being touched, or how, those are the basic fundamental things that we can all work towards and build. And a lot of work is going on already. It's not that it's not happening, but I think a lot more has to happen. And I'm always open to these kind of community events, or sessions where I personally myself go and talk to girls, students in different ways, get friendly with them. We talk about how the relationships are around them, who is the father, who is the uncle, and even if it is an uncle, and how is the brother, and all sorts of discussions open up. And it's quite an interesting way to approach. So that's one. And as I said, of course, the entire thing is about us being responsible ourselves to, keep an eye out for signs and symptoms that we see around us. When talking about prevention and response, there is a growing evidence on what works to prevent violence against women, and that's based on well designed evaluations by the WHO. In 2019, the WHO and UN Women, with endorsement of 12 other UN and bilateral agencies, published Respect Women, which is a framework for preventing violence against women aimed at policymakers. So this is something which I feel kind of encompasses the overall, things that we can do in various levels in our lives, in the society, in the community, in the country level as well. So respect means R stands for relationship skill building, and E is empowerment of women, S is services ensured for the woman, P is poverty reduced, E is for enabling environments created, which is basically around schools, workplaces, public spaces, child and adolescent abuse prevention, transformed attitudes, beliefs, and norms in the society. I mean, I feel this is one of the very good frameworks that WHO and UN Women had come out with. And whatever we do, it falls within the within this framework. I feel anything that we do always falls in within this particular framework. What can we do in our society to prevent and create awareness or build support system? Now, while we talk about that we should not be silent and we should speak up, but it's easier said than done. आप किसी से भी बोलो कि जाओ, आप नहीं, आप बोल क्यों नहीं रहे हो, आप अपने पेरेंट्स से बता दो जाके, या आप पुलिस में कंप्लेन कर दो, या कुछ भी. I mean, even if you want them to go up and speak, they will not do so out of fear. As I said, it's a social stigma, out of fear, or out of fear of their life. And I mean, it can mean a lot of things, but it's not so easy for them to speak. So it's very important to counsel such victims on one and build confidence to overcome these feelings. Then to collaborate, reach out to maybe agencies or NGOs who are supporting women causes by giving free sessions and connecting them with these people, and then partnering with semi-government and government entities working for women welfare, and driving awareness campaigns for communities where women folk can be gathered in large numbers. So you can address together a large number of women together and talk about it, have open discussions. talk about what support systems they can fall back on, inform them on how to approach entities which support women. Educate them also on a very important factor is how to start keeping record of physical abuses, verbal abuse incidents, or how to find someone close to confide their situation and keep a kind of a ongoing witness to what's happening with her life or with her circumstances. That is very important. So I think these are things which we can all do in our own way. um, and that's about it. I want to keep it brief today. Achila, I told you about this. I need to rush. So,
Thank you so much, Sushmita ji. This was very enlightening presentation, and you have truly covered all the factors relating to domestic violence. Am I audible?
yes, yes, of course you are.
Yes, and for the audience who is listening now, और मे बी काफ़ी सारे ऑडियंस जो हमारे बाद में यूट्यूब पे भी लिंक है, तो वहाँ से भी देख कर ये जो सारी जो फैक्टर्स है, जो हेल्पिंग थिंग्स है, वो आप बाद में देख सकते हैं. So, further going ahead, thank you, Sushmita ji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Achila. Thank you, everybody.
Um, the enemy doesn't stand a chance when the victim decide to survive, and that's what we want. Now, I'd like to call our keynote speaker of today's evening, Dr. Vandana Srivastava, to share her views. इससे पहले कि मैं वंदना जी का एक प्रोफेशनल इंट्रोडक्शन दूं, थोड़ा सा इंट्रोडक्शन मेरी तरफ से है. वंदना जी को मैंने कुछ साल पहले कॉन्सुलेट जनरल ऑफ इंडिया इन दुबई में देखा था. वो स्टेज पर आगे का फ्रंट स्टेज भी संभाल रही थी, वो बैक स्टेज भी संभाल रही थी, एंड बहुत सारे पेपर्स उनके हाथ में थे, वो फ़ोन कॉल्स पर भी थी. और उसके बाद में मैं ये नहीं बोलूँगी मैं वंदना जी से बार बार मिली हूँ, बट मैंने उनको बार बार देखा है. और जितनी बार देखा है वो वुमेन्स डायस्पोरा हो गए इंटरनेशनल लेवल की, या बहुत सारी चीज़ों में हमेशा वो बिजी रहती हैं और इतनी एक्टिवली पार्टिसिपेट करती हैं ना. एंड अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट, she has a two beautiful kids and a lovely family. So hats off to her to managing personal and professional life so wisely. Now, back to the professional introduction. Vandana ji is a lawyer by profession and philanthropist by heart. She is a founder of Karna Subana Welfare Society, and as well as she is also founder of famous V4U radio station. She has been associated with government schemes for the oppressed classes in past. She is also associated with many NGOs who work for various social causes like right to education. In the way she has been associated with helping Indian expats by giving free legal advice, she has accompanied consulate officials in the labor camp and to extend all help possible. She volunteers for Indian Workers Resource Center, Dubai. So, going ahead now, I would like to take an honor to invite Vandana ji on a virtual stage. Please come, Vandana ji.
Thank you, Achala. Such a beautiful introduction. Achala, I was equally impressed with you also. And
Thank you so
and now I would like to thank Anarji also for giving me this opportunity. So, culture is silence is today's topic. Any topic around women upliftment is really very close to my heart, physically, mentally, emotionally. Most of the things already we have heard through Sushmita ji and through Shalini ji, and they were so good and they were so clear. Actually, this is the fact. चुप्पी क्यों होती है और हम बोल क्यों नहीं पाते हैं? So, okay, I want to start with the story of three ladies who have impacted my life emotionally. All are my friends now. So, okay, let me start with the story of Nandita. Nandita is my next door neighbor. लोग प्रे कहते हैं, पूजा करते हैं और विश करते हैं कि उनकी मैरिड लाइफ नंदिता की तरह हो. Everything looks so perfect, but in reality her husband beats her on and off. Poor lady, she cries, and the very next day husband sorry बोल देते हैं. Society उसको हमेशा से कहा करती है that the title of married woman is more bearable than of a title of divorcee. And she acts her beautiful artificial image to make society and family happy. Now I want to talk about Anna. So Anna is like the second lady is Anna. She was my colleague in Dubai, Achalaji. She is working in her first job earlier. She was abused by her boss. Despite being learned lady, she did not utter even a single word to her friends and colleagues. उसने भी देखा है कि जनरली मॉलेस्टेशन केस में जस्टिस सिस्टम फेल हो जाता है और कई बार अपने सो कॉल्ड फ्रेंड्स या कलीग ही बोल देते हैं ओह She was opportunist. And now my third lady. That's really a sad story. Her name is Nanhi. She was 13 when I met with her. Nanhi was abused when she was just 9 years old. She wanted to flag it to her mom via maid, but she was dead scared, thinking what her mom will do after this. छोटी बच्ची थी, उसको नहीं समझती, उसको लगता था गलती मेरी तो नहीं है. Unexpectedly, her mom hugged her in tears and apologized for letting her go in such a traumatic experience. इन तीनों लेडीज में एक बात कॉमन है. एक्चुअली हम यहाँ जितने बैठे हैं सब महिलाओं में एक बात का कॉमन है. दैट इज साइलेंस इज नाउ अ पार्ट ऑफ अस. साइलेंस इज नाउ अ पार्ट ऑफ अस. ये कल्चर ऑफ साइलेंस एक सामाजिक बंधन है, कारागार है, प्रिजन है. इसमें हम अधिकतर फीमेल फंस गई हैं. और अगर कोई मिसहैप हो जाए, सपोज चोट लग जाए, जैसा शालिनी जी ने भी बताया था, या कहीं हम जलवल जाएं, तो एक कॉमन क्वेश्चन आता है, why did she not say anything? Why did she choose to suffer in silence? And trust me, these are not counseling rather than allegations. रीजन क्या है इनके, क्या कारण हो सकते हैं? आई थिंक सुष्मिता जी ने बहुत सही बात बोली. स्टिग्मा. ये मेरा छोटा सा एक्सपीरियंस जो बोलता है मैं उसके हिसाब से बता रही हूँ. स्टिग्मा क्योंकि हम ही तो दे देते हैं. फ्रेंड्स, फैमिली, कलीग्स बचपन से ही सुनते थे, अरे उसकी तो बहु बड़ी तेज है, लड़की तो बहुत चालू है. Somewhere it stays in unconscious brain. Even in progressive family also we see this. क्योंकि हम ही मानते हैं that to break the culture of silence is highly uncultured thing. So breaking the silence is not just her fight or our fight against the abuser or husband or culprit or any violator. Rather, it was her fight against family, friends, society, tradition, relative. In essence, it is her fight against an institution. But silence is suffocating. Silence is suffocating, my friends. We must speak up. We must speak up. ओके, एम्पावरमेंट. आजकल वेलफेयर स्टेट का कीवर्ड हो गया है एम्पावरमेंट. हर कंट्री ने अपने हिसाब से कायदे बना लिए हैं, कानून बना लिए. दैट्स गुड. आई एम अ लॉयर एंड आई कैन अश्योर दैट देयर इज नो dearth ऑफ लीगल प्रोविजन इन माय कंट्री. पर इनकी क्या वैल्यू जब तक हम इनको एनफोर्स नहीं कर सकते, इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं कर सकते, बस इन पे धूल जम रही है और हम उसको साफ करते रहते. दैट्स इट. Okay, let me talk about the most discussed act. Violence against women was first brought to public जब bride burning या accidental case का मामला सामने आया था. I still remember, I was very young at that time. एक मैगजीन में एक जला हुआ चेहरा दिखा था. I might be 6 years old only. पर वो चेहरे की इमेज आज भी मेरे दिमाग में है. So that happened in late 17th. प्राचीन युगों में भी सती प्रथा, बाल विवाह और तमाम इस तरह की चीज़ें हम सुनते आते थे. बट टॉकिंग अबाउट द प्रेजेंट सिनारियो, 1983 में एक अमेंडमेंट हुआ था इन द सेक्शन 498A. हम इसे कई जानते होंगे इसके बारे में. इट्स अबाउट प्लुरैलिटी विच टॉक्ड अबाउट व्हाट कॉन्स्टिट्यूट्स डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस. इट वाज स्पेशली फॉर मैरिड वुमेन. और इस अमेंडमेंट ने डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस को एज अ क्राइम रिकग्नाइज किया था फर्स्ट टाइम, which includes physical and mental harassment as well as physical and mental violence. The unbearable. Silence नहीं बंद हुआ. So आज जो भी लोग सुन रहे हैं, एक जनरल सी बात है कि नियम कानून से ये बदलने वाला नहीं है. यह कल्चर ऑफ साइलेंस किंवदंती मिथ एवं रूढ़िवादी विचारधाराओं से बना है. हम ही लोगों ने बनाया है. और जब तक हम इन मिथ्स को नहीं तोड़ेंगे, हम शालिनी जी इस चुप्पी को भी नहीं खत्म कर. डिस्कस ऐसी कौन सी मिथ्स हैं जो डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस को बढ़ावा देती हैं, इनको पनपने देती हैं, इनको ग्रो करती हैं. सो फर्स्ट इज इट इज रेयर. इट इज रेयर. नो, नॉट एट ऑल. एज टोल्ड बाय अदर स्पीकर्स, इट्स नॉट रेयर. 3 में से 2 लड़कियां वायलेंस का शिकार हो रही हैं. सो इट्स नॉट रेयर. As per WHO study, 52% of had suffered with the incident of physical and psychological violence. So this is wrong. Now I want to talk about second myth. It is an isolated incident. और एक बार हो गया है, भूल जाओ. एज पर स्टडी जब औरतों ने बात करनी शुरू की तो वो पिछले कई सालों से ऐसे वायलेंस का शिकार हो रही थी एंड सिविरिटी हैज इंक्रीज ओवर द टाइम। तो फिर ये कैसे आइसोलेटेड इंसिडेंट हो सकता है? नो, नॉट एट ऑल। द थर्ड मिथ इज हस्बैंड या जो भी कल्प्रिट है ही इज मेंटली सिक। अक्सर देखा गया है कि हमारा सो कॉल्ड मेंटली सिक husband functions so well in normal in other areas like his job, his social circle. Actually, we give these people or this person a safeguard by calling him mentally ill, and he continues to do so. It continues. And the fourth myth is, आदमी तो गुस्सैली होते हैं. Man can't control his anger. On the other hand, most abusers, बाकी social situation, बाकी social जो उनका एम्बियंस होता है, सिचुएशन होता है, उसमें तो अपने इमोशनल को अच्छे से बैलेंस करते हैं. फिर यहाँ कैसे नहीं कर पाते हैं? इनफैक्ट हम ही अपने बच्चों को सिखाते हैं, स्पेशली बॉयज, फुटबॉल या फिजिकल गेम्स, बट वी नेवर टीच हाउ टू बी इमोशनली स्टेबल. दैट्स व्हाई फ्यू बिकम रेकलेस व्हेन दे ग्रो अप. फिफ्थ मिथ इज ये लोअर क्लास की प्रॉब्लम है. नो, इट इज़ नॉट अ लोअर क्लास प्रॉब्लम. एक्चुअली लोअर क्लास की डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस की स्टोरीज चार दीवारी के बाहर आ जाती है. बिकॉज मैं भी यहाँ रहती हूँ, एक्सक्यूज हैं तमाम, मैं सुनती हूँ उनकी बाहर आती, क्योंकि वो सड़क पे ही लड़ते हैं. जबकि मिडिल और एजुकेटेड या सो कॉल्ड हाई क्लास वुमेन कवर अप द क्राइम बिकॉज ऑफ सोशल स्टिग्मा. द सिक्स्थ मिथ इज दिस इज अ प्राइवेट अफेयर. और यहाँ बोलकर सारे फ्रेंड्स, वेल विशर्स, इवन पेरेंट्स मूव अवे फ्रॉम द विक्टिम. मुझे भी याद है कि कोई एक अंकल थे जिन्होंने बोला कि जब मेरी लड़की की शादी हुई तो मैंने उसको बोला, भाई ये तेरे ससुराल का मैटर है, मैके मत आना. वाह. फ्रेंड्स बोलते हैं कि यार उनका पर्सनल मैटर है, आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू सेपरेट विद माई फ्रेंड. वी मस्ट रियलाइज दो फैमिली इज अ प्राइवेट स्पेस, बट डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस इज नॉट अ प्राइवेट अफेयर एट ऑल. नो. कभी कभार दोष हम अल्कोहल को दे देते हैं. सुषमा जी आपने भी बोला था इसके बारे में, सुष्मिता जी. दुनिया कहती है कि अल्कोहल causes a man to beat his wife. Is it? No. अच्छा, आप पूछिए अपने उन्हीं सो कॉल्ड फ्रेंड्स को जो अल्कोहल पी के अपनी वाइफ को मारते हैं कि क्या उन्होंने अपनी उस बेस्ट फ्रेंड की वाइफ को भी पीटा है कभी? They are in senses. They know whom to beat, whom to not. Wife is always taken for granted. Now I want to talk few myths which is woman centric. हम भी कम नहीं हैं. The first is women should not be liberated or educated. पढ़ी लिखी महिला घर नहीं चला सकती जैसी दुखियानुसी बातें हमारी इज्जत और गिरा देती है. If a lady is literate, her capacity to negotiate violence increases. Plus, she is economically independent. Yes, most of the cases में अगर लड़की economically independent, that's true. वो अपने स्टैंड लेती है, वो आगे बढ़ती है, वो छोड़ देती है. She speak. But अगर वो नहीं है तो yes, this is going to happen. Second myth is woman is responsible for the violence. By remaining silent, a woman supports the violence against her. लोग तो कहते हैं कि भाई इतना पिट रही थी, मार खा रही थी, क्यों नहीं बोली? कुछ तो गलती की होगी. ये सारी बातें औरतों की दशा को बहुत खराब कर देता है. एंड लास्ट बट नॉट द लीस्ट, जो सबसे बड़ा मुझे मिथ लगता है और इट्स वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग, जो हमारी रोजमर्रा की सोप ओपेरा में चलता है. एक्चुअली मीडिया ऑलवेज प्रोजेक्ट दैट सास इज द गेट कीपर ऑफ पेट्रियार्की who does not allow freedom to her daughter-in-law. वैसे अक्सर ये होता भी है कि हम बोल देते अरे पापा आ गए या ये आ गए, अच्छा ये नहीं करना है, वो नहीं करना है. औरत ही औरत की दुश्मन है. It sounds so filmy. Yes, it sounds so filmy, but it's fact. So these are the few myths which I could jot down. इनको तोड़ना ही एकमात्र उपाय है. To break the silence. Tell your daughter, tell your friend, tell your all the girlfriends, learn to speak. And educate your daughter. This is the only mantra. अगर वो educated है, she can take her stand. I can assure. I know. I have seen. 17 years I'm doing this kind of counseling. I look after family court cases. I look after cruelty cases. I know. I cannot say 100% success हमें मिली है, तो बहुत मिली है. And that's more than enough. Anyway, I have spoken a lot, so I want to finish, but prior to that, I want to recite a poem जो मेरी बहुत ही 30-35 साल पुरानी फ्रेंड ने लिखी थी. and it's her name is Rashi Saxena. So I think I'm not taking too much of time, but let me speak about it. Uh, okay. तेरे त्याग की पराकाष्ठा, ये नारी शक्ति के ही इर्द गिर्द है। तेरे त्याग की पराकाष्ठा तेरा कर्तव्य बन गई, जो बड़ी खुद के लिए तू एक विद्रोह की चिंगारी हो गई। तेरा यूं बढ़ना खुद के लिए, कुछ चाहना या कुछ कहना एक पाप सा बन गया। दुनिया की नजर में तू अब एक दुधारी तलवार बन गई। इंतहा तो ये हुई, इंसानी घर सहजने में वो इंसानी स्तर से ही नीचे हो गई। पुरुष तो अधिकारी बन गया, वो बस अधिकार शब्द ही सुनती रह गई। मिले जो अधिकार भी वो बख्शीश से लगे, मिले जो अधिकार भी वो बख्शीश से लगे। खुली हवा, खुला मंजर, खुले विचार तो बस पुरुष की ही जागीर बन गए। जिक्र अधिकारों का बस एक मजाक लगता है, फिर भी इनका होना जरूरी है। नारी, टू ऑल द लेडीज, नारी त्याग तो तू चाहे पर जग दे, पर जब सवाल तेरे अस्तित्व का हो तो अपनी शक्ति को दिखा दे। अधिकारों को भीख ना समझ, इनके दम पर दुनिया को झुका दे। Thank you, Anarji, Achaladi, and all the speakers for giving me this opportunity. And I think I have spoken. Thank you.
थैंक यू सो मच वंदना जी। मैं सबसे पहले तो राशि सक्सेना जी को साधुवाद करना चाहूंगी। इतनी सुंदर पंक्तियां उन्होंने लिखी, अगर वो सुन रहे हैं या आप अगर उनसे बात करें तो बोलेगा कि बहुत ही सुंदर कविता उन्होंने लिखी है। एंड वंदना जी ने जो बोला उसको मैं समराइज करूं तो मुझे एक लाइन अच्छी लगी, साइलेंस इज सफोकेटिंग, दैट्स व्हाट शी वांट्स टू कन्वे। एंड अनार जी, इफ यू रिमेंबर, हमने इससे पहले भी काफी सारे सेशंस करे थे, बट आई वांट टू से कि इससे पहले किसी ने भी ये मिथ कवर नहीं करे। थैंक्स टू यू वंदना जी, ये जो पॉइंट्स आपने मिथ के जो कवर करें, दैट इज एक्चुअली आई हैव सीन द फर्स्ट टाइम। सो आई विश कि हम ऐसे सेशंस दोबारा करें वेयर यू कैन एड्रेस इट मोर प्रॉपर्ली एंड मोर डिटेल्स। एंड प्लीज ये
I
मत
also
सोचिए
like
कि
this
आपने
myth
ज्यादा बोले।
session.
जी शालिनी जी, प्लीज बोलिए।
Yeah. वंदना जी, ये मिथ वाला रियली इट्स वेरी नाइस। और जो
रियली नाइस।
बोला
Yes.
अचला जी ने, साइलेंस इज सफोकेटिंग, रियली इट इज सफोकेटिंग।
It's suffocating, it's everywhere. It's everywhere, Shalini ji. It's everywhere. Anyways, I'm so emotional person actually. Yes.
Thank you so much, Vandana ji. So going ahead now, I want to invite our President, WICCI NRI Council President, Ms. Anar Mehta ji. Let me tell the audience that she is a founder of Srishti Bharat NGO in Gujarat, a role model for women. She participates in several talk show and workshop to reach out to women from all sections of the society and help them transform themselves and become truly empowered. She has also received several state level and national awards for her work through Shrishti Bharat. एंड ये इंट्रोडक्शन तो मैंने कट शॉर्ट किया है। एक्चुअल इंट्रोडक्शन अगर आप अनाज जी से मांगेगी तो ये मोर देन 3 to 4 पेजेस का है। एंड नाउअडेज आल्सो सृष्टि भारत बहुत सारा काम कर रहा है। मैं डेली एक्टिविटीज देखती हूँ फेसबुक पर, कभी नोटिस करती हूँ कभी नहीं, बट इतनी सारी उनकी एक्टिविटीज डे टू डे बेसिस पे हो रही है ना, तो थैंक्स टू यू, हेड्स ऑफ टू यू अनाज जी। सो प्लीज अनाज जी, स्टेज इज योर्स।
Yes. Hello, everyone. It was an amazing, fantastic session. We have gathered here to discuss an important issue which is very close to my heart, that affects millions of women across India as well as the world. So I would just take 5 to 7 minutes. As an NRI National Chairman at Women Indian Chamber of Commerce, which is WICCI, I work alongside several women leaders across India and world to discuss and develop strategies and programs that help women gain access to better employment opportunities, that help them live with dignity and independence, which is very important to curb this issue. Actually, what is domestic violence? Domestic abuse is called a domestic violence or intimate partner violence, can be defined as a pattern of behavior in any relationship that is used to gain or maintain a power, a control over an intimate partner. Abuse is physical, sexual, emotional, economical, or psychological actions or threat of actions that influence another person This includes any behaviors that frightens, intimidate, terrorize, manipulate, hurt, blame, injure, or wound someone. Domestic abuse can happen to anyone, any race, age, sexual orientation, religion, or gender. It can occur within a range of relationships, including couples who are married, living together, or dating. Domestic violence affects people of all socio-economic backgrounds and education levels. This was very important. Uh, as in domestic abuse, I want to discuss in Indian context. Before we explore the statistical occurrence of domestic abuse that women face in India, it is crucial to remember the societal structure that has been widely prevalent in our country. Ours has been a male dominated society with a familiar structure that usually promotes male members as the key decision makers of the family, leading to a significant power imbalance among men and women, despite the latter contributing to nearly 50% of the population. Women are often forcibly confined to household roles and not allowed to undertake economic and growth opportunities often. According to the NCW, which is National Commission Women Delhi, the number of complaints of domestic abuse in India during the year 2019 were 2,960, and according to the National Crime Records Bureau, nearly 31% of 4.05 lakhs cases under crime against women are registered under Section 498A of the Indian Penal Code that deals with domestic violence, cruelty by husband, live-in relationships, or relatives like father or brother. Nearly 1/4 of all the crimes against women constitute of domestic violence. I think it's a silent killer for our society. One of the biggest problem of this issue is silence. We live in a society that discourages women to speak up from the ordeal they face because of primarily these factors. Lack of evidence, as most of the incidents occur with a domestic environment. There is usually no concrete evidence that can help them seek the relevant and required legal resource, often leading to them being rendered as liars. Protection of men. Even when women do speak up, it leads to protection of men somehow. And in many cases, an aggravation of domestic violence that we talked during our session. As a result, about 86% of women who experienced violence never sought help, and 77% of the victims didn't even mention the incident to anyone. That's really shocking. This problem accelerated during the COVID-19. It is what called a shadow pandemic. The global problem, understanding the domestic violence in India during COVID-19, a routine activity approach, I want to just mention in 2 lines that there is a preliminary evidence to conclude that domestic violence during COVID-19 increased globally. Around 42% of the Australian practitioners noted an increase in first-time family violence reporting by women. Mahase 220 reported a 60% increase in emergency calls related to violence against women by their intimate partners. Mahase is in Europe. And Educator, which is in 2020, found a 48% increase in helpline calls related to domestic violence Aguro is in Peru. So everywhere in 2020, which was during the COVID time, there was around 50 to 60% rise in domestic violence, which was really shocking. I think, how can we help? How can we rehabilitate these domestic violence survivors? While this is just a small glimpse into the problem that exists such a massive scale, it is time to come together. As we say, this time United Nations theme is unite. We should all come together as a women, as a nation, as a society, to address it together to ensure that women get the respect and the dignity they deserve, further breaking the shackles around them and helping them discover the truest potential and economic opportunities for them, which will provide them dignity and respect in their family and around their community. While it is a government that can make the most changes, common citizens like us with their resources can come together and make a meaningful difference. How should we spread awareness? As it is famously said, the first step in solving a problem is to recognize if there is a one. The first step we should undertake is to spread awareness surrounding the problems of domestic violence. It's our duty to share the scale of the problem and how women are systematically suppressed to speak up about it. Together we must be willing, again, unite to listen and, more importantly, believe women, what they are saying, what their actions are actually. Domestic abuse is not always physical, but it's also emotional. The people who go through this crime are susceptible to emotional and mental health issues such as anxiety, depression. We must set up helplines that provide emotional support to the victims of domestic abuse, which in Gujarat we right now have the Women Helpline, which is 181. We must collective and comprehensive framework that outlines the guidelines for emotional support to help the victims. A victim, irrespective of gender, race, religion, must not feel alone. Medical support should also be provided. One of the points highlighted in aforementioned mentioned survey that includes how women do not communicate to doctors when they have been physically hurt because they are so socially conscious. For this problem, we can identify doctors who can help victims at low cost while ensuring their privacy. Legal assistance should be provided. One of the key reasons why victims of domestic violence are unable to take the legal action against the oppressors is because the lack of understanding as well as access to legal services. What as an organization or society or a citizen, what we can do is organize a legal awareness sessions across the country, physically, digitally, and through advertisements, through workshops, to help victims of domestic abuse understand the laws in place to protect themselves. Develop legal clinics that help women at reduced low cost and how to register the case, make them aware of how all the sections work to help them. Rescue strategies are also very important. One of the biggest services we as a community can do help victims of domestic abuse is outline a dedicated and comprehensive strategy to rescue them from abusive environments which prevails around our neighborhood, around in our a city, around in our social groups. Immediately when you feel, just hear to them, just help them, support them, that we are there for you and we can really help you to overcome this. The support and the place a confidence in them that we are there for them. However, we must have a community leaders and organizations whose women victims who can trust us and seek the necessary help to rescue. Once we rescue this victim, it's also essential that to ensure that they can carry on their lives with dignity and self-respect, enabling them to gain a chance to earn their livelihood. As Shalini ji told, that education and women livelihoods are very important to be financially independent. And if they are not happy in the relationship, education and the financial independence will help them to raise a voice against this domestic violence. At Srishti Bharat Foundation and WICCI NRI Council, we have undertaken several initiatives before also, and we are ready to take further also. Unite, as we say, is the theme of United Nations of this year. I take an oath today that we as a woman, we all gather here, should unite with each other and help other women also in supporting this culture of silence to speak out. Just I want to mention that right now, I'll take just 2 minutes because it's always on my mind, and it was a pathetic thing. Since 15 days, this Shraddha Walkar case is going on, and she was cut. Yeah, she was cut into 35 pieces, and I'm so I can't speak how disturbed I am. But she couldn't talk to her parents. This is ridiculous. This is a culture of silence. I can't understand it. I'm really surprised. And she was killed, and she was in relationship for 4 years, and she was beaten, she was abused, not only by Aftab but his friends also, but she continued the relationship. And what happened? The death. So pathetic, so pathetic. So I think one should educate women, girls, daughters, mothers around you that you should raise your voice. Just unite and make them confident. That's all I want to say. Thank you, Achalaji, and thank you so much for organizing such a wonderful seminar. And it was very meticulously done, as you are. So thank you so much. Thank you, Sushmita ji, Vanna ji, and Shalini ji. I'm really thankful that you all came forward for my this very pertaining cause in the society. Yes, and it's very close to my heart also. Thank you.
Thank you, Anaji.
Same here, Anarji. It's really very close
Yeah.
and such an informative speech you gave. Thank you. Thank you. Very touchy.
Yes, Vandana ji, very well said. Very insightful speech and a truly a heart-touching speech. Apart from informative, it's a very heart-touching speech. And Anaji, I'm sure under your guidance, we will keep on doing more work to support the government and different campaigning for domestic violence.
Correct.
I'm sure we'll not put a full stop here. This is just a starting, not the end. That's what
Absolutely,
I
absolutely.
assume.
With all your support, yeah.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
Trauma create change you don't choose, but healing is about creating change you do choose. That's what I understand. So let's choose to stand up for ourselves. If you don't stand up for yourself, no one else can help. So here we are coming to the end of the session. But before leaving, I would like to thank our keynote speaker, Vandana ji, and our other wonderful guest speakers, Shalini ji and Sushmita ji, for joining us on this much needed cause, which covers various aspects of domestic violence. I would also like to thank WICCI NRI President Anaji for their constant support and leadership. I would also like to thank Srishti Bharat and Sustainable Future Foundation for supporting the WICCI event. I cannot forget to say special thanks to our technical team, creative team who manage several aspects of this evening. Last but not least, I would like to say a big thank you to the beautiful, energetic council member for your commitment and passion and the lovely audience. Without you, it's not possible. Thank you so much. Namaste.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.